Welcome. Hey everyone, this is Miss TeeKay with Tam's Handcraft. And today I am sitting down. I have the honor of interviewing my very own best friend for my very own first podcast. And she is a mom of six and an incredible woman and best friend. In honor of Autism Awareness Month, we're talking about motherhood, mental health, autism, and how art has shaped her family's journey. Now, let's get into it. So, Tiffany, tell us about your journey as a mom of six.
Whew. So where do I start? Um, well, I
Well,
don't know about
first, introduce yourself. Tell us
my
who you is.
my name is Tiffany, and I am a beautiful black sister from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Ooh,
And I am in the DMV by way of Hurricane Katrina. I've been here, I can't believe it, almost 20 years. This August
wow.
would be 20 years since Hurricane Katrina. And um, when I came here, I would always make fun and say, like, and I know it's not funny, but it was like I would always say, I swam all the way up here. Well, I had
Mm,
two babies when I got here. They were 4 and 6. And
mm,
those two are about to be 24 and 26. And then along the way here, I picked up a 17-year old, a 18-year old, a 12-year old, and a 14-year old. And my journey um, on the path to motherhood has not been easy because I didn't grow up with a mother. So I don't really like know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of feeling my way around in the dark. And I remember my oldest daughter used to give me all these she used to give me so much grief and so much criticism about, what I'm not doing as a mom and what a mom should do and all this type of stuff. And I remember telling her one day, I was like, look, girl, I'm winging it. I never had a mom. I
yeah,
don't know what a mom's supposed to be doing, aside from what you see on television. And of course,
yeah.
my striving to be like Claire Huxtable Ben went down in the toilet. So, but I said that to say, I had 4 kids prior to the fifth kid, and the fifth kid is the one that turned up on the spectrum. And of course, like I said, I was really trying to find um some way to explain, like what's going on with him, because like I say, he was looking normal, very handsome. Um, he actually went to the bathroom quicker than all the rest of the kids,
Mm,
potty trained. Um, you know, he was just so brilliant, but the one thing that he wasn't doing was talking. No
mm,
mama, no dada, none of that stuff. Not, I mean, only thing you would get out of him was, when he wanted something, when he'll cry,
mm,
pointing, like it was like never really him like giving any type of verbal at all.
yeah.
Um, and I guess, I was in denial a little bit because, like I was saying, his grandmother, his dad's mom, he had a cousin. They were both born around the same time, and a girl. And she was talking and doing all this little stuff. She wasn't going to the bathroom though. But she was
Mm,
doing all this and everything, and everybody was like, well, why is she talking and little Steve not talking? And the grandmother, like, she would never have nobody saying nothing about no little Steve, right? He a boy. Boys take slower than girls. Da da da. That was her defense.
mm-hmm.
And so I had kind of wanted to believe that,
Yeah.
but I knew something just was not.
Mm,
Something just was not right. um deep down in my heart I knew something wasn't right. And
Yeah.
so one day my friend, my good friend Jamie, she was like, look, um, I think he might be on the spectrum.
Mm.
And of course, that's a hard thing to have to tell a friend, you
Yeah.
know. And when she told it to me, it was like I didn't get mad, I didn't get upset, I didn't get defensive because I was at a place like, well, if I know what it is, then we could do something about it to try to get him in the
Hmm.
best position to make sure that he's okay, like moving forward. So
Yeah.
I was in this program, um, and you bring your kids and they go to daycare or whatever, this therapeutic program, and the director there at the daycare said, have the pediatrician to refer him to get evaluated. And
Okay.
so the pediatrician was like, okay, so they did, girl. They was like, Children's Hospital. So I was like, oh my God. It was like it could take a year before they evaluate him. I was like, a
Mm.
year? Like, oh my God, this boy, at this point, he was like 2,
Mm.
almost 3. So by the
Mm.
time they finally did, do the evaluation, he was he was a little closer to 3.
Okay.
And the doctor said, listen, I can't say he have autism right now, but he does have a developmental delay. And they
Mm.
tested his hearing because they wanted to make sure it wasn't that he couldn't hear, that was the problem. So he was able to hear and everything. And so she said, I'm going to give him the diagnosis of autism so that you could be able to start getting the services for him for early intervention.
Mm.
And you know how people be like, oh, they're trying to label my child and this, that, and the
Yeah.
third. But what I saw it is, if he does turn out to have it, then he's getting an early intervention. If he
Mhm.
doesn't turn out to have it, I don't see nothing wrong with the early intervention. That's still gonna put him a step ahead. I felt like, so hey, let me put him in it, because this child isn't talking
Yeah.
in a house full of kids. It ain't
Mm.
like he was the only child.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, okay, so I did that. So, they had a lady coming in, and I felt, I'm from New Orleans. She didn't look like me. I felt like I ain't want her in my house.
Mm.
Cause there's a such thing as cultural sensitive, and everybody is not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was more on guard and fearful with her in my home than I was able to like relax
Mm.
and get the information that she was trying to teach me about my
Mhm.
son. I was so busy seeing and hearing judgment because she didn't look like me.
Mhm.
But that was my own
Mhm.
stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
later it turned out down the line she ended up being my other son's preschool teacher, and
Mm.
she was good as gold. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
So that was just God showing me that it wasn't her, it was me.
Mm.
But anyway, she couldn't be in the house. So what ended up happening was they said that he can go out to the program, and the program was a half a day, and they would have a bus come pick him up and take him out and bring him back and pick him up and take him out or whatever. So that was what we did. We sent him to school. And at 3 years, 7 months, he said his first word,
Mm.
and that was dog.
Oh.
So he went by his grandmother. They had a dog over there, girl. I don't know where they had the dog came from. But he came home and he said dog. And me and his daddy looked at each other because he never said a word. And we was like, dog? He was like,
Mm.
dog, a dog, a dog. I was like, you know what we heard? You want a dog? But he was like, dog, dog, dog. So, girl, we went online, found the best dog for a child that's on the spectrum and, that's patient, this, and the third. Girl. Got us a golden retriever. Drove 2 hours away, got the dog, brought the dog back. and kept that dog all the way up until maybe a couple of months ago. So that dog has grown with him from
Mm.
a little boy all the way up until maybe a few months ago. He got to be an old man, so we
Yeah.
gave him up for adoption for a
Oh,
parent that can
Percy.
take care of him, to take care of him now in his older age.
Yeah.
Percy hadn't got so old with us, girl. He had a gray beard. I
Oh,
ain't never thought I'd see a dog turn gray. Girl, that dog got a gray beard.
I
But
love it.
anyway, um, with so learning the things that I ended up having to learn as far as Stephen was concerned, like because before he started talking, we had to learn sign language. So
Mhm.
we had to learn the sign language that they was teaching him in school so that he could be able to communicate to us when he wanted something to eat, when he needed to go to the bathroom, telling him to sit down so that he could be safe. Like all this stuff. Now we learn the sign language. I did not sign
Mhm.
up to be learning no daggone sign language.
Mm. Mhm.
Now he understood when you talk to him. He
Yeah.
just really couldn't like talk back to you, but he was able to still communicate to us because we
Mhm.
understood his gestures.
Yeah.
But child, all I could see is that, let me tell you, all I could see is this was some more work for me to have to do. And I had enough work to do.
Yeah.
I had five, then right behind him, it was six. I had six kids. I ain't
Yeah.
have time for this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes it was more of a burden to me than it was like I need to do what I need to do for him. This was prior to school age. This was
Yeah.
like when I was just trying to like just really get a hold on this little boy is gonna
Yeah.
need my voice to
Yeah.
be there for him. And so by the time he got to elementary school in kindergarten, I was like, you know what? Now this is the thing. He loves Thomas the Train. Been watching
Mhm.
Thomas the Train since he was months old. So when he did start talking, he started talking with a British accent.
Oh.
Still kind of has that British accent too. Like
Oh.
he don't say like excuse me, he says pardon me.
Oh.
I remember in the beginning when he was little and he would get mad, he would say, I am so cross. I was like, this boy, yeah. Whatever they were saying on Thomas Honey, that's what he was communicating to us. So,
Yeah.
but he was talking. So what?
Mhm.
We took it.
Yeah.
But he really did sound like a little British, a little British boy. And
Oh.
but I say that to say, the behaviors, this is where we found out that it's a spectrum, that it wasn't
Mhm.
just a that it just was autism and that was it, boom. No.
Mhm.
It was the spectrum is so wide.
Mhm.
And you have to find out where your child is because on the spectrum, it's more like, I was looking up some things so that I could be able to try to explain it just a little bit better because when you're saying it in your own words, sometimes you could either be misunderstood or you could just misspeak, period.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't wanna I wouldn't wanna do that, you know.
Mhm.
Like when we was in the process of trying to find out how did this happen? Because when he was born, his eyes was bloodshot red. Now, mind you, when I had him, he was 11 pounds, 2 ounces. Okay.
Mm.
So he was a big old boy, 21 and a half inches. That's how big he
Mm.
was. So my doctor that I had after I had him with the next boy, she was like, they delivered him vaginal. I was like, yeah. She was like, there's no way that doctor should have did that. They should have gave you a cesarean. And I was
Mm.
like, well, I don't know. But so now what I got to ride on now, the doctor, the reason why he died
Mm.
because his brain must have getting no oxygen. His eyes was bloodshot red for the first so many months of his life. Blue, 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 blue. So now I need to take care of the doctor, right? Because I need
Mm.
to know how my baby get like this. Because what's the problem? I got 4 other babies and then one behind him and none of them got these issues. It
Yeah.
got to be something the doctor did wrong.
Mm.
So then I started hearing stuff about, oh, it's the vaccinations. That's what's getting into the
Mm.
trend. So I'm like, oh, vaccinations. Oh, well, my kids ain't getting this, and that, and that. So now I'm concerned about that. And then the daddy, oh my goodness. Now we listening to Farrakhan. So now we really getting riled up now. So yeah, and the man talking about you ain't taking my baby out here to give him no shots. That's what they do. First thing they want to do is give our children shots. So now we on the day trying to corrupt and mess up the black children with the shots. So we
Mm.
on the road with that now because really it's something we don't understand and we
Yeah.
gotta try to figure what could have possibly went wrong.
Yeah.
So oh, this what I did. So I was able to hit it again. So this why I got real cute, right? So I am 15 years the daddy's junior, right?
Okay.
So honey, oh yeah. So look what it says here. It says older fathers tend to have the higher chance of sperm with genetic with generic mu-
Genetic.
with genetic mutation,
Mm-hmm.
including those linked to autism. Oh, it's
Mm.
his fault. His old self. He the reason why our baby got it. Cause he old. I think that man was like in his 40s. I don't care. He
Look,
the
look, that ain't old now.
no, why? Because I'm there now. I think I'm probably the age he was when he had it. I am. I'm about that age. He was like 42 when I got pregnant with Steve. But yeah, so we had, but girl, shoot, I had to find somebody to try to blame it on. But they say genetics is could play a factor in it. It may be in earlier studies it said it could. So as time has went on, they found some other reasons to link it to um but so one of the characters, so this is the other thing that they ended up coming with, like as time was going on, they said, well, he has a not a developmental delay. He has a emotional disability.
Mm.
So saying um he's unable to control his emotion.
Mm.
And he has some symptoms of ADHD as well. So you got ADHD and you got to be able to control your emotions. So this was all before medication, okay?
Mm.
So we worried about when he's little, like how is this going to manifest itself when he's an adolescent going through
Mm.
puberty? So
Mhm.
now we really got to get this under control because he is going to become an adolescent going through puberty and a black young man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now my fear has went
Yeah.
way up there now. You know what I'm saying? So then, and navigating through the school system, the public school
Mhm.
system, you know what I found? You get more bees with honey. When my son was getting ready to start school, what I said was being here in the DMV, I learned it wasn't what you know, it was who you know,
Mhm.
and what church you went to, what church you
Mm.
belonged to. That type of stuff is real.
Mhm.
And um I said, I need to get in the school system so that I can be
Mhm.
able to find out and navigate what I need to do to make sure that my son is in the best position to get the best education that's possible for him. Right.
Mm.
So I took my little body down there to transportation and said, I'm going to be a bus attendant.
Mm.
He got to ride the school bus. I'm going to be a bus attendant. So that way I'll get to know teachers when I'm pulling up, dropping kids off, going through and I rub some elbows. I get to know some people. Then they know I'm here. They'll start
Mhm.
giving me some information that I need to kind of
Mhm.
navigate this system.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. But never knowing when I go down there to get
Mm.
that job, that guy had something else in store for me.
Yeah.
Because as a little girl, I always wanted to drive a school bus. I would sit
Mm.
behind the school bus driver, the only woman I ever seen drive a school bus, and watch
Mm.
her drive it. I think I probably was in second grade. And watch
Yeah.
her drive that school bus and say, when I grow up one day, I'm gonna drive a school bus. Now look, a lot of people might say that's not big aspirations, but that big old machine, she was little, about 4 feet, driving that
Mm.
machine. I said if she could drive it, I could drive it, because I was about the same height as she was at
Mm.
that
Mm.
time. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna drive a school bus. But anyway, I goes to put in my application, and the lady, as she was getting ready, it got to be my turn to do the interview. She got an emergency phone call and had to leave. The lady that was
Mm.
doing the bus attendant, and so the lady who had to do mine was the bus driver,
Wow.
manager, supervisor. And she said, so what do you see yourself in 5 years? I say, driving a school bus. She put that paper down. She said, really? I said, yeah. She said, you got a clean driving record? I said, yeah. She gave me the book for to take the test. She said, go home, study this test. She said, before this week is out, if you can, go pass this test and I'm going to make you a permanent bus driver. Put you right in
Mm.
training. I did just that.
Mm.
Took me probably 2 or 3 times, but I ended up passing it. Got
Yeah.
in, became a bus driver. Now, from there, I thought it was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go to these schools and this school, whatever. What ended up happening was I fought for him like I needed to. And what I never did was blame the school or
Mm.
blame the teachers. I never did that. Whenever we went to IEP meetings, or if I needed to call one, because I did use my rights. And what parents have to know is you have the right to call an IEP meeting whenever you want to.
Yeah.
They
Oh.
they have yearly ones, but you
Mm-hmm.
have the right to call one whenever you want to. All you have to do
Wow.
is give them an advance that you want one and when they can put one together. And you're right as a parent, when they give you packets. They give you one thing that's the IEP for you to read through, and then they give you another thing, which is your parental rights. Your parental
Mm-hmm.
rights say that anytime that you want to call a IEP meeting, that's your right,
Wow.
because you may have been discovered something that they don't see at home
Mm-hmm.
that you need to inform them of, and they need to give you the floor to do it.
Ah.
So now, mind you, what we would do, me and the daddy, now he's something like a lawyer or something. That's what I used to always say about him, right? I used to be like, he's something like a lawyer or something, right? Now, what we would do is I would give him the paperwork. He would sit down, he would go through it. When we go
Mhm.
into the meetings, I run the meeting, he going through the paperwork. I'm talking to him. He'll say, oh, is this going on? Is this going on? He'll tap me and say, look at this. When I see a discrepancy, I come back and I say, well, what about this? We talked about this. I thought that this was supposed to be happening, but this don't say that this is happening. This say that something else is happening. And where's his personal person? He's supposed to have a all the time person with him, just his person, his
Mhm.
own TBA that walks with him all the time. That's his person, not somebody that he got to share with other classmates that you done
Mhm.
made your teacher's attendant, assistant, and none of that. She's not your errand girl. She's his
Mm.
TBA. That's what she's getting paid for.
Mm.
So it was like, this is how our IEP meeting is. Like us as, and I'm gonna say our culture, we go in and we're afraid because we're looking at them. We feel like they know. And I remember in the beginning feeling like I just was giving them my baby and I just wanted them to fix him,
Yeah.
until I learned what my rights are and what I'm gonna have to do to make sure that I fight for him
Yeah.
in his future, because that's my responsibility. It's not theirs.
Yeah.
And so sitting at the table with them and saying, look, all right, I don't feel like y'all are not doing y'all job. I feel like y'all are doing the best that y'all can. But
Mhm.
what I feel is that my son is displaced. This is
Mm.
not the environment for him. We need
Mm.
to figure out a better environment that is going to suit his needs
Mm.
and his educational progression.
Yeah.
And so, from the beginning, my son is working towards a high school diploma.
Mm-hmm.
Always a high school diploma, possible college, or
Trade.
trade school. I
Mm-hmm.
always was that was my thing from the beginning. Because what
Mm-hmm.
I had found out about Stephen in the beginning as a little one is that he had photographic memory.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen can walk into a room. It could be a puzzle sitting there. You could take that puzzle or lose. Stephen could put that puzzle right back together without even much. That let me know early on that he's a kid that he can do something. Now
Mm-hmm.
that was before him doing what he do now. Oh my
Yeah.
God. With them
Yeah.
trains now, that's a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even like he is an engineer at this point,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But early on, I seen that in him, and I was like, if he can be taught, if he can be um in an apprenticeship or something, he will be
Mm-hmm.
fine. You know, because I'm trying to make sure that my son is able to be able to prosper when I'm not here no more. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because the
Mm-hmm.
last thing you want to do is be thinking about who's going to take care of your child when you're not here no more.
Right. Right.
So, when they were trying to say, one time we were sitting at the table, girl, and the daddy found that they had not working towards a high school diploma. They had them mistyped. That was a big problem. And I'm glad
Mm.
I seen that because that let me know from then on, always make sure before I sign off on the IEP that it
Mm.
said everything I needed to say.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
can't trust that they have his best interests at heart because he's just another number to them.
Yeah.
But he's my baby. When I
Yeah.
sit at the table, it's like, look, this team Steve and I'm the general manager.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody at this table, y'all play for Steve.
Yeah.
Either you on
Yeah.
his team or you not. Because if you're not on his team, we don't have a seat here for you.
Mm.
If I
That's good.
never, like me and dad, we really don't have, we're not together no more. But when it come down to our kids, we a team.
Yeah.
Still now to this day, if it's an IEP, I email him, I go through it. Before we had a meeting, I talked to him. Did you go through it? Yeah, I went through it. It look about the same. What you think? But did you see this? Most of the time he been and saw something I ain't see. I ain't gonna
Mm.
lie. He said, "Did you know this was on there?" And I said, "Yeah." You remember when they said that last time? He was, "Oh, that meant that." Yeah, that meant that. Okay, all
Mm.
right, okay. So we moving forward. That type of stuff. Because at the end of the day, what he deserves. Because I remember telling them, I know he can catch it. We just got to figure out how to throw it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and that's on us.
Mm-hmm.
So when he got to so girl, wait, this the one thing. When I was doing a little investigation of who I'm going to talk to about it, right? So the girls was going to school with, but the girls had an administrator at the middle school, and I was talking to her, and I was like, "Yeah, my son go to such and such, such and such," and I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Well, I got a son, da 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 da. He on the spectrum," and I was like, "Yeah, my son on the spectrum too." I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know what's going on, with this public school stuff." She was like, "Get him in a private school." I was like, "How am I get him in
Mm.
a private school? I ain't got nobody to send him to no private school." She was like, "How long he been in the program he in now?" I was like, "Well, he just went in there, da 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 da." She was like, "Well, okay, you got to give it." She told me you got to give it 49 days. After 49 days, if you're not happy with it, you can start beating the drum that you want something better because that's not working. Why she gave me that information? Me and
Mm.
Steve go up in that daggone IEP meeting, me and Big T. I say, let me tell you something. I say, we walking out there today with him going to a non-public private school. He was like, okay, okay. We went up and down. Dot, dot, dot. We going through it. It's IEP. Da, da, da. So then we get the lady on the phone. I tell the lady on the phone, I said, look. I said, look, I am sure that y'all have done everything that y'all can do.
Oh.
I'm sure y'all have. And I I appreciate everything y'all have done. But I do not think that this is the right fit for Steven. This
Mm.
is too much. And so they said, well, let me get such and such on the phone because the lady didn't come. Nah, nah, nah. I want to know how we, first of all, why the principal not here? That's a problem for me. The
Mm.
principal is supposed to be here, but she not
Mm.
here. Okay, that's fine. Get the lady from the CIEP on the table. Then that's the county IEP person, not just
Mm.
the regular IEP team. Now I want you to get her on the phone. Got her on the phone. I say, so this is my concern. I do not think that this program is fit for Steven. They have done all they can do, and they are a remarkable program. I was saying all this good stuff about it. They do so good. They've done everything they can do, but it's just Steven is truly displaced. We need to get him in a better situation because I'm
Mm.
sure if we figure out how to throw it, he'll catch it.
Wow.
By this time, he's in second grade. Now, I
Mm.
done been going through this from kindergarten, first. Now we in second. And the lady said, give me a second. So she started talking. When I already told Steve, I said, Steve, they probably gonna try to send him to Kennedy Krieger. I said that when we was outside in the car. I said, but the lady told me at the school, Trinity School, try to get him in Children's Guild. That's better than Kennedy
Mm.
Krieger. So okay, I'm sitting there. So they said, well, we're thinking about Kennedy Krieger. They was like, that's in Baltimore. I was like, if something happened to him way in Baltimore, I don't know. I don't know. Y'all don't have nothing closer y'all could do. Oh, we have Children's Guild in Chillum. I say Children's Guild it is. But see, I already knew that that was the
Mm.
place my baby needed to go because they had for him there everything that he needed. I'm going to tell you
Mm.
something. All when it came down to reading, all he read was Thomas books. They did his
Mm.
English out of Thomas books. They did
Mm.
his spelling out of Thomas books. That's all he interested in. They did
Yeah.
his math out of Thomas books. That was how they kept him engaged.
Wow.
Now, that was for the most part. But then we still had the behavior problems.
And make sure you touch on the emotional part too. Like how do you help him cope with the emotions, with handling his emotions and his behavior?
Right. So that's the part I was getting ready to get to.
Mhm.
We still had the behavioral part that was, it would get in the way because once he go, he gone.
Mhm.
That's how it was before. I mean, it wasn't no getting him back. They had to hold him down, put him in a padded room or whatever. No, I'm just playing with a padded room. But they had like sensory rooms, and they had
Yeah.
came up. They got all these type of stuff. They could climb all the way to the ceiling on a rope and stuff like to try to let that energy go, to try
Mm.
to combat that anger.
And this is
But
Steven. He can do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
At the school, they
At the
had a
school.
room that was just for that,
Okay.
and he it will work sometimes, but then it wasn't as conducive as we thought it would be.
Mhm.
So that's what therapy came in.
Okay.
So we ended up putting him in therapy. So he started therapy about six,
Mm.
6 or 7. So he started going to therapy, which was just talk therapy. But
Mhm.
now, if the therapist says something to make him mad or didn't understand something he was trying to convey, misunderstood him, because everything is such a matter of fact for him. I
Yeah.
remember the psychiatrist just said to me a few months ago, she was like, it's like Steve has what they called back in the day Asperger's. And that's
Mm.
more like, she said it using the term more of like the Napoleon no, not the Napoleon, the Albert Einstein syndrome. Like,
Mm,
I'm the smartest person in the world and all of y'all are just idiots type of
mm,
mindset. And he
yeah,
really does carry that. Like, everybody's, don't nobody know. Like, if he could, he would call everybody a bunch of morons.
yeah,
And in his mind, it is, everything is literal. Like, you
yeah.
can't tell him it's raining cats and dogs outside.
Mm,
He wanted, like, he want to know, why would you even say something like that? Like, there are no cats and dogs raining out there.
yeah.
Like, there are no cats and dogs out there anywhere. Type of,
Yeah.
like, looking out the door, like, where are the cats and dogs, mom? I don't see any. You know, the other
Yeah.
day we went out to eat, right? And something happened with the waitress behind. They had a dispute with one of the co-workers in the back, so they sent our waitress home. So now that they sent our waitress home, our waitress want us to like close out our ticket so he could get his money. You know, he ready to go. So we looking like, what's going on? It's Easter, right? So I told the
Mm,
manager, I was like, look, come here. I was like, listen, I don't know what's going on back there, but whatever was going on back there, it spilled out here, and we're
mm,
experiencing that out here. Girl,
mm.
Stephen was like this looking. He said, wait a minute, do you mean literally or do you mean figuratively?
I love that.
I say figuratively, baby, because he was like, oh, because I was trying to make sure nothing was on me. And baby, he was sharp for Easter too, but he didn't want nothing to be on him, be on his fresh white Nikes, baby. He was looking like, what? What? So,
Oh, I love
girl,
it.
but that's just a example of
Yeah.
how, things are like, and the hard thing, the most that I see that's so hard for Steven is growing up in a house with siblings,
Mm,
and siblings treating you like a normal little brother, a normal big brother,
yeah.
and that's what most of the problems come in at, because it goes up in here. You know how you could just play with your sibling and be like, "Shut up, ugly." Mm-mm. That turned into third wall. I'm telling you, I and I don't even know that he know all the curse words that he know when he get to going about, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But he's not a violent,
Yeah.
like, he don't get violent with his hands, but his
Mm-hmm.
mouth,
Yeah.
girl. His mouth
Mm,
is terrible when he get through with you. Now the thing is, he's able to, now to me, like, he won't like cuss at me or nothing, but he don't take demands, like, you could tell a kid be quiet.
mm-hmm.
No, no, he not gonna be quiet.
Mm,
I could be like, Steve, be quiet, it's over with. We're not doing that. He not gonna be able to do that. But if I can be calm and I can talk to him calmly,
mm-hmm.
he can he can get down like that. You
Yeah.
can't meet him with the same energy that he has. You really
Mm,
have to meet
yeah.
him in a calm place, and then he can like bring it down. But what I will say is, he ended up having to treat him in his um testosterone
Mm,
developing stage. He has had to get a mood stabilizer along with his ADHD medication. So that has helped tremendously with him being so mature now. Like, he
mm,
can even get to the point that he don't even get as riled up as
yeah.
he would before. He's
Yeah.
able to kind of like joke, laugh, and be relaxed. I remember it was a time he wouldn't even be able to look you in your eyes. He can do that.
Mm,
So looking at Stephen, which is also a kind of a problem and some issues too, because looking at Stephen, you don't see autism.
yeah.
You don't see it.
Mm-mm.
And and the older he get, women
He's
are not
very
going to
mature.
see it.
Yeah, he's very mature. And I think that contributes to him having the siblings that he do
Mm-hmm.
have, because he is treated like he should be, like a normal child. And so I think, having multiple children in the home has helped him to mature, whereas someone who may not have siblings won't have that interaction, you
Right.
know. So,
Yeah.
and it's very commendable on, you and the dad, as far as how y'all are work as a team, even when it comes to like the school system and stuff like that. And I witnessed this myself. Like, you go to them schools and baby, I be hiding from the schools, but you be right there. You be right there. So how I'm gonna pause it.
Say all the time, I be up at them schools, girl. I go see what's going on. I
You
go.
do. You do. I be
That's
hiding. So I be hiding from the schools. I be like, y'all make sure y'all go to school. Don't act up. Don't do nothing that I gotta go up to school. But you be there. And I mean, it's not even just with Steven, it's with all of your children. You're very involved with all of their education and making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. The teachers know who you are. It's very commendable. So I'm gonna switch a little bit and just kind of like talk about you as a mom. How would you say being a mom of six and him having autism, how has that shaped your mental health journey? You don't
oh.
have to go into too much details, but just how important is it for you to maintain your own mental
It's
health?
very important for me to go to for me to make sure that I take my medication and make sure that I see a therapist when I need to as well.
Hmm.
And then I do have other self-help groups that help me,
Yeah,
maintain, my spiritual connection,
yeah.
because for real, it's my spiritual connection that really helps ground me the most, more
Hmm.
than anything. I'm really big on mental health, like, but taking care of mine, I have brought into the saying of put the mask on your face first before you
Mm,
can be able to give the oxygen to the children on the plane
mm,
if it's going down. Like, I
yeah,
do really buy into that, because if I can't help me, I can't help you.
right, exactly.
So I spend a lot of time my spiritual that I believe is the most that I get the help from. And that was something else I wanted to say about Stephen. I remember I was doing from one of my spiritual advisors was like, "Do you believe he'll talk?
Mm,
Do you believe he'll ever talk? Do you believe that God can do that?" I said, "I believe that God can may have my baby talking."
mm-hmm,
She said, "Well, if you believe that, then pray for it."
mm,
So when I had a pillow, like about a pillow like this, right?
mm-hmm.
About this size. And
Okay.
I put it up under my bed. And every morning I just got down out the bed, pulled the pillow from under the bed, and got on my knees and put my face into the pillow and prayed that my
Mm.
baby would talk.
Oh,
Every morning I did that. Like it was clockwork. Like it just was I did it every morning.
yeah,
And that's one of them miracles that I could say I prayed for and God did,
yeah, yeah.
along with many others. But that's one
Mm-hmm.
of the main ones that I could say He did for me. And my
Yeah.
baby is, and child, can he talk? Pray.
Yes, he can.
No, my child,
Yes,
can
he
he
can.
talk? And then he'll tell me, child. That's how he'll talk. He he think that's funny to talk about something. That's how they talk in New Orleans, calling each other child. He said, "Child, what we gonna eat? Boy, don't play with me." But what I hold dear to my heart, I've been in therapy ever since. I came here from Hurricane Katrina. I
Mm.
was going to this little place, and they ended up giving us this place we could go for transitional therapy to transition here from the South. Now coming here from the South, it was a whole different
Yeah.
culture, mindset, different everything. And so that was my first introduction to therapy. And then like from there to now, I've always been active with some form of therapy. And
Yeah.
and those life skills, those coping skills
Yeah.
that I learned, I just continue to try to refurbish them. If
Hmm.
something new happens that I need to go and get more in depth in
Yeah.
therapy again, then I'll just go back, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but I remember there was something I was getting ready to say. Oh, I had put Seth in therapy when he was 4. And
And
somebody
that's
said,
your youngest son.
yeah, somebody
Hmm.
say, what the hell that boy need to be in therapy for? He only 4 years old. And I said, so he can learn coping skills
Yes.
and
Yeah.
don't have to wait till he's a grown up like I did to learn
Yeah.
coping skills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Seth has been in therapy since he was 4. He's 12. He's still in therapy every week, once a week.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
Stephen was 6. So ever since 6 to now, Stephen's 14. They've been in therapy. The girls, they've been in therapy since they were, oh God, 9 and 10.
Hmm.
And they 17 and 18 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they every week they go to therapy every week, every
Mm.
week. We found out that now just recently Seth has ADHD, need medication because his
Mm.
grades was kind of funky, and we trying to figure out like what's going on. Guess what? Now I need to go find out what's going on. Okay,
Yeah.
take him to the doctor, got him evaluated. He got ADHD. He don't need a IEP, but he needs a 504 plan. That's so
Yeah.
that they can give him the accommodations to try to make sure that he doesn't have to limit his distractions so that he can
Yeah.
be able to focus. You know, and
Yeah.
these are the things that I needed as a kid, but I didn't
Mhm.
have anybody fighting for me to get them.
Yeah.
So I make it it is, that's the job that I'm entrusted from
Yeah.
the God up above to do, to make sure that I guide these children into the best position possible for them to be able to serve him with
Mhm.
whatever purpose he gave them to be
Yeah.
here for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just try to keep my own self sane, um and do the things that I need to do. And like I
Mm.
say, spiritually, so I can be able to find that place, my
That
place in this
peace.
world
Mhm.
too,
Mhm.
because I'm not only their mom. That's
Yeah.
not just my purpose. That's
Yeah.
my assignment, but I
Yeah.
still have a purpose.
Right.
So,
Right.
I don't know if
So I,
it's got to be a difference.
you exactly it does. It has to have a separation. Moms has to have a life as well, in order for us to even teach our children how to have their own identity. We have to have our own identity as well. So we met on the terms of being artists, right?
Right.
And so like that was a thing that was really big for us, is just art and like creating stuff. And so you have always been a creative person. Now, is there a memory, because and then you love the holidays, like I know, like when it comes to Christmas times, like you decorate that Christmas tree all year round if you could. And so, what is some memorable things as a family that you have done with your children to incorporate art and just kind of just like the culture of your household? What does that look like as far as when it comes to art is concerned?
So, like during the pandemic, something that we did, me and my girls did, and my boys, that was a little, um, that people, I don't know, that people would think maybe like, I decided, we were stuck in the house, we couldn't go nowhere. We
Yeah.
could go to Home Depot though.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
funny, like we ain't working, but we got money to go to Home Depot. Like it's
Uh-huh.
crazy. I don't know what was going on, but the money was coming from somewhere. So we go into Home Depot. So first I'm like, okay, so Steph Steve like Thomas and Steph like Percy. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make their room a Thomas room. So we got
Yeah.
together, we figured out how we want the room to get, how we what we want. So we went out, we picked this, we picked that. So I had them to help me with the designing of their room. And they helped me to I had them, I just sprayed the the glue on the board to put the little soft uh like cushion to make the headboard for the bed.
Mhm. Yeah.
And they helped me put it, each one of them helped me put theirs on their plaque of wood to do it.
Mhm.
And um and then I had them to help me take all the knobs off the dressers because I did the dressers. So when
Yeah.
we finished that, they really felt empowered, like they actually had did it all themselves. And at
Yeah.
that time they had to be, oh my God, that was like 5 years ago. Oh, they were young, like 8 and 9,
Yeah.
7 and 8, seven
Yeah.
and nine. Yeah, so they felt like they were big boys that actually got to build
Mhm.
their own room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then I had them like set out. It was certain little toys that we used to decorate the room, and then I let them put their own stickers and stuff all over the room of Thomas and Percy and stuff. So that was one of the things I remember that we actually did together. And then with the girls, our latest memory I remember with the girls was when me and their dad was getting married, and they helped me to make all the centerpieces
Mm.
for the reception. And then Fari had got so good that even when I was at work and I couldn't do it, she still was doing it.
Mhm.
So she made the majority of the centerpieces, and she was a little one. She was
Mhm.
like 9.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I had sat down and taught her how to do that, and she just took off with it. And so that's
Mhm.
one of those things that she is really artsy when it
Yeah.
comes down to that type of stuff. Now, if we talk about being creative with my girls, the most creative things that I think that we all do together
I was thinking that. I
is
was thinking
hair.
that. The hair. Yep.
Hair, yeah,
Yep.
we
The hair.
do that. I got one do makeup, one do braids, one do color, the other one cut hair. Like
Mhm.
that's something that we don't ever have to go in a salon. The
Mm-mm.
salon is right here in the house, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
And we're very creative with stuff. Like we
Yeah.
don't just do simple stuff. Like if we do something, it's go bang. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you
Right.
just looked at me last week. I had one color hair. You looked at me this week. You like, girl, you gonna be a bald head old lady. I was like,
You pulled that thing together, baby.
I'm here for it. Like it's just hair. And I be looking at it like it's just hair. It's gonna grow back, you know. But
Yeah.
I that is how we express ourselves. So a
Yeah.
lot of times if it's a change in me and I want to see something different or I want to feel something different, I'm gonna go to my hair first.
Okay.
And that's just that's
It's the
kind of
hair,
like,
then you got the outfit. You can't.
oh, the outfit got it. Oh yeah, you know
Mhm.
the outfit, you know the
Mhm.
outfit, yeah.
Yes.
So but yeah, I think that that's mostly um yeah, that's mostly the things that I do. And I do like to decorate.
Mhm.
um
And you buy some meaningful gifts. Like you actually think about the individual and what they need. And like your gifts be so creative.
that's
So
what my
creative.
sister said. My sister said, one of the sisters I gave something, their birthday in April, and the other one in May. I gave one something, and she was like, Um, well, I ain't get that. It was a journal I gave my sister Ingrid. And I
Yeah.
had all this little stuff on there. My sister, da 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 da. Even though you're far, you're still near, and all this and all that. And then Dee on we on the three-way, and Dee say, "Well, I ain't getting no gift for my birthday." I said, Dee, I sent you money. She said, "You know what?
Mm,
You can keep money. I like your gifts. You know how to give a gift. Your gifts
you
are
did.
so meaningful. Like you'll cherish them forever." And like all my
Mhm.
nieces, they got a blanket or something from me that say to my niece from my aunt, from your aunt, da 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 something. And they every time I talk to them or something, that blanket right on their bed,
Mhm. Mhm.
so
Mhm.
yeah.
So, in closing, because we're coming towards the end, what is a message or hope or support that you would like to give moms like you know, that has children that maybe have some challenges, um, like moms who are struggling with autism, you know, a child that has autism with their mental health, like what can support them not just in April, but all year round?
Black and brown people do not take advantage of resources.
Mm.
There are a lot of resources out there.
Mhm.
We have to take advantage of those resources.
Yeah.
We cannot just get the check for the child and not get the help for the child.
Yeah.
Those resources, um, you can go to www.autismspeaks.org,
And you
and
said this
they
is www dot autism.
autismspeaks.org, and they offer so many um resources. You just have to put in where you live at. ABA therapy is one of those things that, especially if you have a little one,
Mhm.
a school age little one, where they could be able to go into school. You don't have to have them come in the house, but I mean, it would be helpful. But if you didn't feel comfortable with them coming in the house and you only wanted them to go to the school and be able to
Mhm.
just help your child with coping skills, to
Yeah.
be able to kind of navigate those emotions and those things that happen with other children, because bullies are everywhere. Bullies are even in these special needs classes in schools.
Mhm.
So you have to be able to help your child be able to navigate through that type of stuff, even still, you
Yeah.
know, not be afraid to speak up for yourself. You don't have to be aggressive to be assertive,
I love that.
you know, because at the end of the day, you got to remember you're leaving your child alone with these people.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
need to be careful how you speaking to them and
Mhm.
leaving your child alone with them. You
Exactly.
know, and if therapy for myself was important, but I had to take the dad because he was kind of older. He thought that whooping was the thing. You know that
Mhm.
he need a whooping.
Mhm.
You cannot beat autism out no child.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
It's only gonna make it worse,
Yeah.
because now you're gonna make them go inward,
Yeah.
be afraid to
Mm.
tell you things that they need to tell you. What if
Yeah.
somebody else is hurting them? You
Right.
know, and you got to make sure that people that have negative things to say, that's in our culture,
Mhm.
don't let your family make you feel like something wrong with your child,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they not right.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because if you can't accept and have some type of compassion for
Mhm.
a child that's living with autism, because I don't
Yeah.
say that my son is struggling with autism, he lives with it.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that means that all he has to do is, and I also tell him this, it's a superpower.
Yeah, it is.
Because I say, baby, you just see the world differently.
Yeah.
That's all.
Mhm.
And you are more aware of what's going on around you than the people that's around you. So
Right.
don't feel like, feel bad. Because the one thing about him, he can talk trains. I'm telling you, girl. They had a man came and stood on the aisle with him when he was getting some stuff in Hobby Lobby, and started
Mhm.
talking. And I was looking at my son saying, How did he know that? He starts
Yeah.
saying the this engine and that engine,
Yeah.
saying the numbers in this and where it was manufactured at and what it's used to pull and what type of rails it has to travel on and what part of the world it normally is in, and we don't have it here because we can't sustain this and we don't have it to use for it. And I'm sitting there looking at him like, who
Who
told
was
you
that?
that? Who who told you that? Who told you that? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So just that type of stuff, like just knowing that, and you just have to find out what your son's superpower is. You know,
Yeah.
I have a friend, her son, all he knows is numbers, girl. He'll ask you how
Mhm.
old you are and then tell you what year you was born in, just that fast.
Mhm. Mhm.
Crazy. He
Yeah.
know them numbers like this,
Yeah.
girl. Right off the
Yeah.
right off the back of his head. And
Yeah.
I be wondering, like, girl, I be sitting there saying, okay, I'm gonna carry the, and I'm no,
Me too.
no.
Yeah.
So as a mom, I think the most is like, don't apologize,
Mm.
don't be ashamed,
Yeah.
get the help, and be open.
Mhm.
Be open, because if you're open, you can really get help.
Yeah.
Because had I been closed minded to my friend saying I think he is on the spectrum,
Mhm.
he wouldn't have got no help as soon as he needed it.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
that's about all I got.
Oh, so it's a huge, huge thank you to my best friend Tiffany for sharing your heart with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you follow Tam's Handcrafts for more real conversations about mental health, art, and healing. And I'm sure we're going to have more conversations with me and my bestie because we always have these really intense conversations going on. So until next time.